We're into the final third of 2025. And Phil, that's probably actually only 3 months because December, as always, is a month that Kiwi people love to do bugger all.
You really threw me for one there when you said it was the final third. I had to stop and think. It's like, wow, the end of August already. My word, where has the year gone? What's everyone done? Let me just throw it out there. Fuck all. Because the economy has contracted. Well, the data hasn't come out yet, but Stats New Zealand, I think, will come out, and we might find ourselves in another technical recession. But I think you're being quite generous, mate. I would probably go back mid-November.
That's when people knock off.
Yeah, mentally people switch. Like I'm of the view that nothing gets done in December, but I think the real risk that we've got at the moment, and I've got my doom and gloom brush out, is we're looking for people to make decisions for shit to happen. And I think by the time we get to November, mid-November, people are just going to sit there and go, yeah, then we've got like 6 weeks till the holidays. No, this can wait till the new year.
We should call it No Decision December.
I like it.
Yeah.
No NDD. Yeah. And
Because
forget your NDAs, we've got an NDD.
every year we talk to people in December and it's like, oh, I might just leave this till next year. You think, why'd you even waste half an hour of my time thinking about this right now then?
And dare I say it, that knowledgeable man in the middle with the polished head, not me, the dude that is apparently running the country, is saying we've got all this stuff that's coming online at the end of the year. Has he factored in No Decision December?
I doubt it.
No, because the thing that really concerns me is we've got all these great big things that are happening, and I think he put a price tag on it of about $6 billion. It's not a small amount of money. That's got to flow through to our small and medium-sized businesses. They're waiting for bigger businesses to make decisions on projects that they can then flow down to a smaller business that's going to contribute and add some value to that overarching bigger project. They're sitting there twiddling their thumbs, waiting. And coincidentally, I was reading today, the big fans of the housing market, Kiwi Bank, have released some data. And I have to, and I don't know whether you've seen this, but I have to swallow a few pills here that they've canvassed their business banking experts. I think it's probably only a small pool because the majority are housing-based people, but they're probably the 2 or 3 that they've got. Anecdotally are saying that 1 in 3 business owners are using Investment Boost.
Okay.
So it's just like we're sitting back, and the key thing out of that, one of the comments was, and I can't remember which one of the 3 business bankers across the country, was that there's no projects that are currently rolling out for smaller businesses to be able to go, I've now got confidence to go and invest in growing my business and purchasing some assets to take advantage of Investment Boost because we've got nothing happening in the pipeline. I thought that was fascinating.
The way I read it read even worse because it says only a third of the business bankers surveyed said clients had claimed Investment Boost. And of those, they basically said that they were going to be doing the infrastructure or the spend anyway.
Yeah.
So their conclusion was that it hasn't really made a quantifiable benefit.
No, because we're sitting back waiting for these huge big projects to give people the confidence. So
Yeah.
And as I've said before, we're going to get into next year, and I think next year we're going to have a rapid decision Q1, and then let's wind up to the election for the rest of 2026. So it's going to be interesting the way it plays out.
Well, it could be a good reminder for business owners before we get to December, what are some decisions that you have to have made before 31st of December? Because it probably needs to be done by the 31st. Are there 31 days in November?
I don't remember. You remember that da thing? I just know that there's 30.
I never learnt that.
Didn't you?
No.
Nor did I.
Okay, well, I'll check my beautiful calendar here. There are only 30 in November.
Good.
So by the 30th of November, actually, we should have just trolled everyone and said by the 31st of November, then you get the comments and the messages. There's not 31 days in November.
Yeah, we'll save that for next time.
By the 30th of November, you have to have thought about what decisions you need to make because you're not going to do them in No Decision December. So it could be to hire, it could be to fire. What is it?
My initial gut action, because that seems to be a key theme that's coming out of discussions with a number of business owners at the moment, is just your ability to take action and what you need to do to get shit out of the way to carry on. My number one thing leading up to No Decision December would be what can you do to get cash moving through your business faster? because we know that in no decision December, no cash is going to come through in December or January. So you're cooked. So whatever cash you've got on your balance sheet or projected to come in November, or what you've got early December, that's it for a month, at least 8 weeks. Because people go, oh, that bill's come in, it's due 20th of December, 20th of January, we'll make it the 20th of February. Meanwhile, there's a small business owner out there waiting
To be paid.
to be paid.
Yeah, every year we go through this and we remind people that the cash slows down.
Just another random thought. Is there a risk that we're premature, mate?
No
Again.
way. No, because people are knocking off earlier and earlier in the year. So I think we've got to get this normally we'd wait and do this content in November to remind people, early November, start getting ready, Prov tax in January. Oh, look, cash will slow down. We've got to keep doing this content even earlier.
It makes me wonder, you say people have knocked off earlier, potentially even clock out earlier. I wonder if anyone's clocked on this year at all, or if it's just, survive to 25, thrive in 25. I can't remember some of the other sayings that you've said about 25, but it just hasn't happened in 25. So people have just clocked out and probably just sat in front of the TV and watched Netflix.
I think I saw an economist talking about how, I'll butcher the wording, but basically we're working 4% less hours. And that's a massive hit to an economy. So basically everybody is contracted by it. So there's 4% less work getting done.
Well, because there's nothing to do.
Yes.
So maybe we're just padding our timesheets, and in theory, that gap is maybe 10%, but we're padding timesheets with 6 because we don't want to show how inefficient we are just to protect a job. Just saying.
Well, now that we have 10 sick days as well, you can use a couple of those up before needing to touch your annual leave.
No, but you're working from home before you touch your sick leave.
Smart.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're protecting the 10 sick days before you really need them.
So by the time you get to December and January, you can start spacing out a really, really good holiday.
Yeah, strategic.
Yeah, which humans, they'll always push it to the boundary.
You comment about this, and I don't know whether you've looked this far ahead, but what's the plan for Easter in 26, and how many days do you have to have off of work to get 3 weeks off?
Someone will have worked that out already, no doubt. But again, a good reminder that there is a cash slowdown at the Christmas period when people go away, they stop paying their bills, they say, oh yeah, we'll get to that, and then they forget to. But also all of your expenses keep going out. So you've got insurance, you've got your subscriptions, you've got the likes of your lease, your staff want to get paid, and that's 100% of your expenses. If you don't know your break-even point and what those are going to be, well, A, that's a red flag. You should know because we've taught you about that in prior podcasts. But we saw last year that for a lot of businesses in December and January, and even February, like across that period, revenue was down, and sometimes even up to a half, wasn't it? Where the expenses were the same, revenue was dropping, and people were going, shit, I'm using up all of my cash reserves.
Yeah, it still baffles me, and I don't know why, but every year we're going through the same thing, and people are just getting the same lessons because they don't look back and go, oh, this is kind of cyclical. What can I do to not feel this way again? And coming back to that earlier comment that I made around taking some deliberate action, and that seems to be a bit of a common theme in some of the discussions that are coming up with clients, in that there is genuine opportunity out there. And with one business owner in particular, they've even shared what opportunity is available, but they're just sitting back waiting. And it's just like, well, how hungry are you? Like, pick up the phone, send an email, do something, because if this work's not going to come to you, you've got to go out and get it. And I think if you're in that place that you're waiting, and I think that's one thing of Kiwis is, and I don't know whether it's that, that whole passive tall poppy thing of just, we don't want to be the pushy salesperson. We've got to push that to the side, that if you genuinely want to get ahead, you've got to have that degree of pushiness to you. Otherwise, if you're not front and center of the decision maker's mind, somebody else will be. And I think you've sent out a proposal. You know that there's hustle. You've got it. Did it land? I mean, that's something you're really good at doing. You'll fire out something next minute, text.
Yeah.
Hey, just sent you. Has it landed? If not, da-da-da-da-da. And it's just creating another angle of comms rather than just relying rather solely on email.
Yeah, I think we're so scared to ask because we struggle with rejection, and we've touched on that many times, but maybe the question we could start asking, as business owners to other business owners is, what does 2026 look like for you? Because everybody's talking about how, these projects are going to come online and things are going to turn, and it's all, magically probably from the 1st of January, as everyone likes to think. But start asking business owners in the back end, what does 2026 look like? So you might be, in the construction space and you might be working with developers. Like, ask them what 2026 looks like. What plans do they have? Whoever our customers are, start seeing what their plans are so that you can potentially position yourself to help them when that magical day gets here.
And that is such, people listen to this and go, it is such a simple tactic. And the amount of times we've spoken to business owners where they are part of an overarching project, and let's say they provide scaffolding, for example, to construction projects. And it's then going, right, okay, we've got to bring some people in, potentially from the Gold Coast, to come and put some scaffolding up in New Zealand. Who the main contracting companies are that are going to be doing these projects that you've worked with in the past. Sit down with them over a lunch, a few beers, and just go, hey, exactly like what you've said, what's happening in 26? Any opportunity for us to help you out? Anything that you're stuck with, da-da-da. But I think just too many people are just waiting for those said construction or contracting companies to go, oh, hey, Bruce, we've got this job and, we want to give it to you. No, it's not how it works.
No, especially in a tough economy, because there are people that are pushing, so they're going to be the ones to get it. We were talking to a business owner recently, and they were using LinkedIn to do some outreach. And they've ended up securing a whole stack of work through a few DMs.
Wow.
In an industry that you would think, no way, no, but they're talking directly to the decision maker. Right time, right place. Oh, yeah, okay, great. Here's some work just down the road from their place. They posted about it in the school group, I think. And if they don't send those messages, they don't get it. But the principle being, they're trying to understand somebody else's pipeline. Too often, we're just focused on our own pipeline. I'm thinking oh shit, my pipeline's running out. And it's like, well, how can you help somebody solve their pipeline and go and understand theirs to see how you can slot into it?
Mate, again, I think you're being generous to New Zealand businesses and people in general, saying, we clock off in December, whereas mentally it might be earlier, that you think people have got. I don't think many businesses out there have a pipeline.
They don't even track it.
No.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They just roll from day in, day out. Oh, yep, here comes the next one. Yo, Bev, we got something on. Let's go. Get that sewing machine in action. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, shit, Bev, we don't have any work. What are we going to do? Oh, Bev, we're going to have to make you redundant.
Oh.
Yeah, oh. And then all of a sudden you're on the back foot. Whereas if you'd been out there a little bit more hustling, you would prevent that type of stuff from happening. But I think it just comes back to that fundamental principle that you mentioned before of just ask. And there's so much that can come from that. And it seems on the face of it, for people that are listening or watching, oh, guys, you're stating the obvious, but we wouldn't be stating it if we didn't have so many discussions with business owners that proved our point.
Yeah, and also, we're not stating the obvious, because what's very obvious, when we do come back every year in January, you start getting bombarded by people that are all fired up and right, new year, new me, hey, and you think, why is it taking you to the 1st of January to start doing this? So the point being, get a jump on these people, because everybody starts to do it and people get frustrated by it and get a bit fatigued by it. So show how proactive you are by doing it ahead of the 1st of January or the 14th of January. And then by February, all the energy dies out and it's just it's just another year and I better start talking about the election. Yeah, the election's coming up. I'll focus on that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So we've touched on hustling and gearing up your pipeline and getting some sales coming through. Luke touched on break even, which I thought was really smart. The other things I think to think about, and it's still a really easy thing to do but underrated, is track how much GST you're going to have to pay over the, the November period due January and then January due February. So there's 2 GST periods that are in very quick succession with limited cash flow coming through. The other thing to think about is holidays. How much are we having to pay out in holiday pay? So just starting to think about all of these one-off flows of cash that are going out where we don't have as much coming in. I think that's going to be a really important hack.
And of course, your prov tax in January as well. You should know what that is by January. But we talk about break even, but you could also, use a cash flow forecast to figure out all those things that Phil's talking about there. Or just remember too that just because you're having a holiday, the bank, their direct debit won't, and they're going to ping you for your loan repayment. So you're still going to have that cash outgoing of any debt repayments that you are making. I reckon one of the hacks for GST is don't wait until the 15th of January to pay it. If you're a good, diligent listener of the podcast, you'd be putting your GST aside anyway.
Absolutely.
So your your October, November GST, you should have that money
Already set aside.
Yeah. And so then you're not going, oh, I've got till the 15th of January, I'm going to get all cute and hold on to it. Pay the bill and be done with it. Because like Phil says, then all of a sudden the 28th of February comes around, it's like, oh shit, another bill of GST. Oh, this is so unfair.
Are there 28 days in February?
I think there can be 29 maybe even next year.
Okay. No, I just wasn't sure whether it was 30 or 31.
February 2000.
No, it'll be 28 because 29 was a leap year only a couple of years ago, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, so we got to wait a while.
Because what is it, every 6 years that there's a leap year?
Mate, they give me another year, another day of a year. Fuck me, just more success gets added to the cart.
Oh, the heat. Somebody bring a fire extinguisher.
Oh, baby.
What else? Oh, on cash flow, the other one is you're going to be shaking the tree, hustling all of that work. Don't forget to collect it. Hammer the debtors. And, when you're talking to Barb from the accounts payable department over there at fucking Fonterra or wherever it is that you're dealing with, go, no. We're not putting up with your 20th of bloody March that we're going to wait for this. I've got bills to pay. I want their cash now.
Speaking of farmers, mate, they potentially going to get a massive payout next year.
They are, and there's no excuse for them not to be paying their bills on time.
Yes, and it's tax-free as well. So going back to the pipeline piece, I would be asking farmers, if they were my clients, what are you going to do with your payout if they're a Fonterra supplier? Apparently the average farm is set to receive $300,000, a capital distribution.
300,000?
Yeah, that's just that's an average farm.
An average farmer?
Yeah.
Wow,
So
and I bet
so
you
this-
know some above average farmers from your time down in the
Harvester.
Yes.
Yes, spot on.
Yes.
It's going to be ringing and blinging.
Ringing and blinging. So
Yeah.
you think that they could invest it in a wedding potentially?
Whatever they've got to pay for, maybe halter.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a new kit, maybe they'll take advantage of the investment boost.
Right, maybe.
But
But it'll take a while for that cash to flow to Auckland because they'll go and sink it at that local pub.
Rough Habits, Tough Rabbits,
There
great
we go.
spot, great spot. Go and look after Lisa there at Rough Habits. Hey, Lisa. So again, it's a good example of, okay, follow the money. They're going to have money. So just ask the question, like, hey, what are you going to do with your payout? Oh, you can't ask someone that. Why not? Like, someone else is going to do it. The bank are going to ask them. Maybe they're going to clear debt. Maybe they're going to upgrade machinery. But again, like, that's actually trying to understand where you could then slot into their plans.
What else on cash flow? People. I guess the other side of it is money going out, accounts payable. We're saying, hey, look, practice what you preach. If we're hustling our accounts receivable, make sure you're paying your accounts payable on time because there's going to be another business owner on the other side. So don't be that person.
Going a bit more holistic, I would suggest digging out that business plan that you haven't done, ladies and gentlemen, and having a look at what you had on that business plan that you wanted to achieve in 2025 and figure out, shit, I've got 4 months of the year left. What do I need to ensure that I do before we clock off?
I think that's brilliant, and I bet you a lot of people would have missed what you've just said there, is that you've got 4 months, but then we're mugging everybody off to say that there's only like 8 weeks of the year left, maybe 12. But it's like, if you're a business owner with a plan, you've actually got more time because when everyone is doing no decision December, you're in there taking action, making decisions, getting shit done.
Yeah.
So it's like foot to the floor, keep going, and make those incremental 1% impacts to your business while everybody's going, yeah, thank God, we've got to the beginning of December. Now it's time to just coast.
And then if you didn't do a business plan, which a lot of people wouldn't have,
No.
you probably did have some thoughts back in January around what you wanted the year to be like and to look like. Maybe go back to those thoughts in your mind and figure out, did you achieve what you wanted to in 2025? If not, well, you've still got 4 months to make it happen. And start, getting yourself ready for what you want 2026 to be like as well.
Be interesting if we mug off the whole 1 January New Year's thing every year, and I guess, this coming year it's going to be no different, I suspect. But it'd be absolutely fascinating the people that have gone new year, new me. What does new me look like? And now we've got a third of the year left. Are you 2/3 of the way to achieving the new you? I don't know. Look in the mirror and ask yourself.
Yeah, only you can answer that question.
Deep.
I think as well, we get caught up in the, okay, I want to achieve this in a 12-month period, but forget that progress sometimes can take longer, or we're better to refine for trying to make progress, and then the good things will come. So a good story recently from a client who, let's say 18 months ago was, well, not even that long, but just prior to going to the 2 field days ago, they'd started doing some content, they had a stand there, and it's sort of like, oh, we kind of thought we might have got a bit more from it. But now they've stayed consistent. And now, in the recent field days, we're staying with the farming theme here, people have coming up to them and been like, oh, we recognize you from social media. Oh, we follow you. And so the trust is there, and people are walking past the same site and stopping in for a yarn. And now it's led to inquiry, and they've closed over 33%, I believe, of that inquiry.
Wow.
So in the space of a year, by building up that trust and that following and that likability, etc., the sale at the other end has become a lot easier. And they're even at the point now where they're doing multiple reels that go on social media every week, and they've outsourced the editing of that because they hate that bit. So they're willing to spend money on that. And then they get interviewed in batches, and then someone helps them with a newsletter that goes out, and their rule is we have to have a newsletter going out. So they know that they'll probably have 150 to 200 reels going out throughout the year on social media, and 52 emails. Now, that is more than most businesses will probably do over a 5-year period, but they've created a process and structure around it. And then when they go to the field days, people are walking past being like, we know who you are.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think it's a good example of doing the right things and doing them consistently and being rewarded for it, but probably later than you expect that reward to come. But the good thing is we can think, okay, instead of just doing a flash in the pan, like come back in January and be this hyped up person that's going to crush it, why don't you find a way to be that consistently throughout the year? You might not have to be at that level of hyped upness, but just go, okay, what are the processes and systems that if we look back in December 2026 and go, sheesh, we're glad that we did all of those things, like what would those things be?
And I guess for a social media driven world where there's just that instant gratification, instant have now, like you put that, I guess in your mind, you put it as like that's what has to be done, and go, right, well, that's the benchmark that I need to achieve. And for businesses that have never, or people rather, that have never done that before, you're already at defeat before you've even started, because to try and get yourself to go from absolutely doing nothing to then doing 1 post a week consistently for a whole year, like that'd be like trying to learn Chinese.
Yeah,
for me at least, bloody hard.
And I mean, it was hard for them, so that's why they've gone, right, well, let's spend some money to continue to make it easier for them.
I wonder if that trust for them has been built up because they might be something to do with housing, the great asset class of New Zealand that people just love and believe in.
No, because there's no trust in housing at the moment. I don't know if you've seen that the banks are revising their price predictions for property in 2025.
Yeah.
Because they're doing their reflection on the year and they realise they've been incredibly wrong as well, regionally.
And what do they reckon the housing's going to do?
You were looking at 6s and 7s and even 12s from some of the major banks at the start of this year.
Wow.
ANZ have just gone back to, probably 0% growth in 2025.
Well, I wonder if the government's seen that, because I'm pretty sure in the budget it was somewhere
6.
between 3 and 5 or something like that.
I think Treasury say 6 is what they...
These guys are dreamers, eh?
But no, not property, this one, which is good. People winning outside of property. But yeah, there's probably also, I reckon, a decision that you should have already made this year that you haven't. What is it? And when are you going to make it? Like, get it done. Get it done before the end of the year.
Yeah, you're fast running out of time. And people are probably going to be like, oh, guys, it's just the beginning of September. There's still plenty of time. No, there's not. You'll probably look back and go, far out. You're saying it's September. Gee, where is the year gone? What have I actually achieved? And then you look back and go, I don't have a plan, so I don't actually have anything to measure whether I've actually achieved anything or not. So then it's just like, right, okay, I've got to start and quick fire, do something now to close this year off with a big tick.
Nice, mate. That's all of my notes. I didn't have anything else.
Mate, I would just reinforce the fact to those that have got this far to listening to another ripper of a pod from the lads would be just get better prepared. I think that's what it ultimately comes to is if anything in business has taught us is that it's cyclical and this stuff repeats either on shorter or longer terms, and we go through this stuff year in, year out. And like what you said before, We get back to January and we have the same conversations. And we're trying to educate business owners earlier so they're thinking, oh, right, if I do this now, that will stop me from getting into this really shit position later in the year. I might actually listen to these guys because they know something. True story. So I think if you can understand your cash flow, put some aside, make sure you've got enough for the outgoings, hustle the incomings, meanwhile fill that pipeline, you'll be absolutely ahead of 90% of everybody else heading into 26.
Yeah, I love that. Even I can see that in February 2026, someone will email us and say, lads, I'm glad that I did X, Y, Z, like you guys said, because this ended up happening. And we'll go, oh, that podcast was worth it.